And so what's the film anyway?
It's for RAC.
Okay.
YouTube channel.
Oh, I thought it might be something like Sherlock Holmes with the get-up.
I know, it's nice Co, isn't it? Yeah. It's very early in the morning. It's about 2 degrees and we're out at Northam Airfield. I'm not usually a morning person, but this was worth getting up for. So we're going to check out Northam from the best possible angle. Well, I've no idea exactly where we are. We're somewhere near Northam. We've been travelling north, I think, in an attempt to get away from this incredible fog this morning. They've set up a test balloon to see which way the wind is blowing, and I think we're deciding whether we're going to take off near here. Here we go.
So guys, we're just driving around a bit to try and find a place to fly out of the fog. Yeah, we're going to do a U-ey up the road here, and we're going to go back the other way and around to where we saw that clearer ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've certainly seen a lot of the countryside just from a slightly lower angle than I was expecting. It's the third time lucky. We've driven to one of the many lift-off points around Northam. This is the least foggy, it seems, this morning, as hard as that is to believe. From this point on, we're told it's a bit of a group participation sport. So we're going to be dragging these baskets off the trailers, getting them onto our side, filling the balloon with cold air, and then getting the burners burning. Hopefully, we'll soon see liftoff.
Use the burners there to heat the air. Yep.
There's a bit of competition here. I think this one's going to get up before we do. How long have you been flying balloons?
30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Is this the point people often jump out?
No, nobody gets out at this stage. It's normally after my jokes. Good morning, everybody!
Hello! Hello, welcome.
It's quite surreal, just drifting away.
Say cheese! Cheese! Oh, good photo. See canola sticking out of it on top of a hill over there.
Oh, that's what that is? With the fog this thick this morning, it's hard to shake the sense that we are just gliding across the surface of the ocean. Everything looking down looks like it is literally underwater. It's got these little outcrops, these little islands of the higher land here.
So the only way to steer a balloon is to try and find different wind direction at different height. We're climbing up to see if we can get more wind going this way.
Okay, head to somewhere
where it's clear. Yeah. Now we're 3,500 feet above sea level, nearly 3,000 feet above the ground. And we're moving along at 22 kilometres an hour. I can rotate the balloon. If I want to rotate it anti-clockwise, I pull this black strap here, and it opens a vent in the side of the balloon up there, and it lets air out of one side of that vent, and that'll turn it anti-clockwise. If I want to turn it clockwise, I pull the other one. Don't confuse rotating with steering. Just rotate it so it's facing the right way when we come in for a landing, and also that everybody that flies with me gets to spend some time in first class. Nice. We're now descending at 900 feet a minute, and that's about the speed you go down if you're under a parachute. We're nearly up to 1,000 feet a minute now. We headed up fairly high to try and find a bit of left-hand turn, because we can only go where the wind takes us. There was less left there than what was on the forecast. And of course, when we leave our tracking balloons go, we can't see them to that height. So what we do now, we'll just descend into a different direction wind and fly to somewhere else. So yeah, we're just going to make our way out this way, drop down, hopefully find a sheep paddock somewhere to land in.
Hopefully we won't scare the sheep too much.
30 years and never had anything exceptional. Lots of proposals.
But you turned them all down?
No, not to me, not to me. What I like about it is that normally the experience exceeds the passengers' expectations. It normally turns out better than they expected.
Just feel like the ground is starting to rush up a little. So we've just come down through the fog. There was no visibility at all for a couple of minutes, and land is starting to, the ground I should say, is starting to come into view.
So we're just going to land here, guys, because I can see it's not crop. We're in the middle of...
Down, there we are. And up again. And down again.
Yeah, I've landed not in crop, but in the middle of a crop. Like, if you know what I mean, like in an area they don't crop, in amongst crop. I've sent you a pin.
So we've landed safely, we're just not entirely sure where we are yet. Someone's gone off in the hope of finding the ground crew but hasn't yet returned. It's all part of the experience. I mean, what was amazing about being up in this balloon is it's so simple. You're standing in this wicker basket that's being lifted by a gas burner and a big balloon of canvas, and that's it. All of that makes it such a liberating and exciting experience. There they are. Well, it's nice to be back on the ground at a slightly safer altitude. We finished off the balloon tour with a very nice breakfast at a local restaurant. We didn't get to see as much of Northam as we'd hoped, given the fog, but we'll try to catch it from a different, slightly high angle later on today. Right now, it's a different side of Northam we're looking for, and it's something that's brought people to the town in recent years, and that's some pretty spectacular public art. It's in fact some very colourful graffiti art on the side of some local silos. So these are the Northam art silos, and they're certainly a bit of a tourist hotspot these days. They're part of an art silo tour that'll take you all over the state, but this was the first location. And this is a working silo as part of the CBH group, which means this artwork isn't fantastically accessible. So if you are coming past, it's worth remembering that it's probably best viewed through the car window. Even if you've never been to Northam, chances are you've seen this bit. This is the start tower for the Avon Descent. And in a couple of weeks, hundreds, if not thousands, of canoeists and kayakers will be setting off down that way, eager to win the race. On a quiet, sunny afternoon like this, it's a great place to take in the local suspension bridge and check out the local bird life. If you're at all peckish, Zax Co has a great selection of homemade lunch or coffee or the apple pie, which comes highly recommended. If you're after art at a slightly smaller scale, it's an ideal spot to pick up a present for yourself, for mum, dad, the kids, or even the dog. There's a great selection of works by local artists and craftspeople. For a town of its size, Northam has an impressive array of architectural styles, but one of the most surprising heritage attractions is this, the Northam Public Library. It was built in 1971 by the famous Bulgarian West Australian architect Ivan Ivanov, and it's a fantastic example of his slightly controversial brutalist style. It might not be to everyone's taste, but it's one of the main reasons people come to Northam, to check out this rather impressive building. Well, it's not a silo, but it's still a pretty striking and spectacular piece of street art. This is the old flour mill. It's one of the oldest buildings in Northam. It's about 140 years old. and as you might be able to hear, it's still in operation today. The mural here is a more recent addition from Perth-based artist Amok Island, and it pays tribute to the white swans that were introduced to the area in 1900. We saw a couple out on the river earlier today, and apparently Northam is the only place in Australia that you will find white swans in the wild. So I said this is a great town to check out a range of architecture, and if you're wanting to do that, one of the best ways to do it is the Heritage Walking Tour. Apparently it's a great way to hear the stories behind some of the many and varied buildings you find along the high street. Local historian Michelle can take you on a tour of Fitzgerald Street, Northam's main drag. You'll pass the town's oldest tea rooms, temples to the temperance movement, and some statues remembering notable Northam inhabitants. The tours aren't advertised, but can be arranged by getting in touch with the visitor centre ahead of your visit. This is the jewel of Northam.
I think so.
So it's it used to be called the Shamrock Hotel, is that right?
Yeah, at one stage it was called the Shamrock, and you can see the little shamrocks at the top there.
Yeah.
That building across the road used to be Lucy's Tea Rooms. Lucy's Tea Rooms is still in Northam, but it's just in a different spot.
Oh, is it?
But they're the oldest cafe in Northam. So I guess some of the cool elements are the pillars going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't quite see from this angle, but they've got like a crisscross patchwork right at the top there.
There's certainly a lot to be discovered by looking up above the high street, but if you prefer to explore a town by window shopping, you're in luck. The Northam Secondhand store is an absolute treasure trove, but perhaps a dangerous place to start wandering, as it's too easy to lose an hour or two in its labyrinth of retro delights. So this is Bilya, Koort, Boodja. It's built in 2018 and it's the Aboriginal Cultural Centre here in Northam. We're going to take a quick tour. Hello, I'm Myke.
Hi, I'm Duana.
Nice to meet you.
I'm the cultural officer here. So this is BKB, our cultural centre, and just in here is our exhibition. So basically everything with the Balladong region and the Aboriginal people in this area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll guide you through there, yeah.
Please do.
So a lot of the people they are local, everyone a part of this video. Okay. So that was our Clontarf boys, and they're based out Northam Senior. They came and painted up to be a part of this video. Okay. The woman doing our Welcome to Country is Nana Deborah Moody. So she's a local, she was born and raised here. Okay. And then the Didge player is Pop Frank Davis. So he's a local, born and raised. So our exhibition is built up about a lot of what the local people do, traditional things as well. Okay. There's a lot of our flora and fauna in here, so our animals, and then the native plants and trees. So we also have 4 cabinets in here. And if you have, a good eye to detail, you'll see that the locals, because you can use a lot of tools these days, you'll see that these are a bit rougher, because back then you didn't have much, you had to make your own tools. Sure. They're a bit rougher in just the outcome compared to what our locals make today. We have a touch table. Yeah, so we have 3 different types of furs for you to feel. Okay. There's 2 kangaroo. There's 2 because you can get our grey kangaroos and our red kangaroos. Right, so that's the red kangaroo. Yeah, and you can tell the difference in the fur colour. And then in these containers we have some quandong seeds. So they're kind of like a cherry, basically. The seeds were left and used for multiple purposes. Okay. And then we've got some echidna quills. Then we have a coolamon. So these were used during the day. You could make your come and collect your berries and your potatoes. So it was basically used as a bowl to carry what you needed, carry back and make your bread or your food. You could also hold your babies in them, so your infants. Yeah, okay. It made it easier for the mothers to carry, and then you'd place your baby in there to lay and have a sleep. Then we have just some emu feathers. I love emu feathers because I don't know if anyone knows. They're the only feather to have 2 feathers coming off of one.
Oh, I see.
And then just on the side of it, we have our emu egg as well. So it's already hollow. Mm-hmm. Back then you could crack it open and then just cook the eggs and eat the eggs. But a lot of them like to keep them just for some art and carvings. So you'd drill 1 hole at the bottom and 1 hole at the top, and you'd just blow the yolk out until it came through.
Have you eaten emu egg?
I have.
What's it like?
It tastes just like normal eggs.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the size of
that.
But
you get that's probably like 4 or 5 eggs in one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got to eke it out. Okay.
Yeah, you could feed your family off 1 egg.
It's a big omelette.
So the men would wear basically, that's called a julep. that they're wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a julep, and you'd tie that up. The women got to wear the waistbands, which were just made out of emu feathers, and some rope, and then that's attached by beeswax. So we do have some information on the board about colonisation. Then going into that area is our stolen generation, and then it can loop back around to storytelling with our elders.
Okay.
And they talk about, being taken and how they grew up amongst that. Because a lot of elders were taken and then a lot of elders weren't. It was just sad. It depended if you ended up in that area for your children to be taken. So in that area, my grandfather's story is actually up on the board as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And he talks about his journey. I like this role because it's all about truth telling. We're not holding a grudge, but we just want the truth to be told correctly so that I feel like we could all move forward on a clean slate.
That's one of the reasons you like being a guide.
Yeah, which is what I love to do. And I can tell my grandfather's story too, because he couldn't. And that's why this centre's here, I suppose, to educate.
Yeah. So when people come through, is it self-guided or do you always take them through?
So we offer both. It's self-guided, you can make your way through and read the information on your own. Otherwise it is just a bit extra to pay for the guided tours where it has me coming through explaining everything, all the artefacts, and from my first perspective, so a First Nations perspective.
Do you want to thank you? It was a great tour and it's a
That's
fantastic
okay.
and I think really powerful exhibition.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
No, thank you. I don't think there's any better way to get to know a town than to hear the stories from the people who live there. And Michelle and Joanna were both such passionate experts in their field. The stories of the development and the commercialization of the area and the stories of the people and the country that go back tens of thousands of years. Both were able to draw attention to little details that I think you would miss, whether it's on the street here or on the riverbanks. And Joanna in particular was able to convey some powerful truths in a way that I think visitors to the town will appreciate if perhaps feel slightly challenged by it. Now we started the day by trying to get a bird's eye view of Northam and didn't quite succeed due to some heavy fog. The fog has cleared. So we're heading to the highest ground available at the moment, and that's Mount Ommaney Lookout, which should give us a pretty spectacular view, I hope, of the surrounding country. Well, it's not quite 7,000 feet, but it's still a pretty spectacular view. The heart of Northam's down there, that's the high street, and in the distance we can see some of the canola fields that make the countryside so colourful at this time of the year. Fields that we couldn't see through all that thick fog this morning. It's been a long day, and there's been a lot to soak in, and I feel about ready to soak myself in a nice quiet drink.